Good morning, or if it's not morning, if you're watching this as a video, good day, and welcome to the Medium channel, and welcome to Tarot Time. So, we're going to dive right into this in a moment and explain to you why the next 2 weeks coming up are probably the most important 2 weeks of the whole year. And I'll explain what I mean in just a second. But I want to give a moment for the live people to get on to get their notifications. And then we're going to dive right into the tarot forecast, a little bit of a mini tutorial. Maybe we'll touch on a few world events depending on what comes up. We'll do a meditation card. We'll do a little 3-card spread that will not necessarily be predicting world events, but giving us sound counsel and advice and direction on how we can make our lives better during all this change and all this awakening and all these crises. And then we do an angel card also. So let me just say a few quick hellos and we'll dive right in. Hi, Jennifer, Colleen, Teresa, Chris, Colleen again, Doreen, Sandy, who else is in? Angela again, Judy. Okay, so many of the usual suspects are here. So very good. So where do we begin? Well, firstly, the reason I don't know if I want to dive right into that. You know what? Most anybody that misses the beginning, they can watch this as a video, right? So let's dive right on in, right here and now. And basically, what's happening? We're in the spring. We're in the sign of Aries, right? So the sun went into Aries. Now, on depending on where you are in the world, either April the 1st here on the East Coast and in Europe. I believe if Sharita's on, she might provide the times, but I believe the new moon in Aries is the 31st on the West Coast and in Hawaii and in that direction. But it's so the other thing is that April is a universal number 1 month in numerology. So Aries is the first sign. It's happening on the first day of April, and it's happening in a universal 1 month. So what that means is that this is a beginning of a new cycle, and that's why these next couple of weeks are going to be hugely important. Not just for the world around us, but for us personally. And you can better understand what's going on with your own personal chart on exactly what those new beginnings are or how that's going to affect you. Um, but that's just the energy. So again, just to recap, new moon are new beginnings in general. Universal 1 months are new beginnings. And the sign Aries is about new beginnings also. So this week is a good time to really think long and hard about what it is that you really want to clear in your life, like what cycles you want to end and what changes you want to see in the world, and really start to get a bit of a plan. And all the planets are still direct now for a while, so this is a really good time to plant new seeds and to start new beginnings. And yes, I think I see Sharita is indeed on, uh, and she has validated that indeed that on the West Coast it's still the 31st. Thank you very much for that. Okay, so what's going on? I'll talk just a couple minutes about what's going on in the world and dive in because it's all related. And I'm not going to talk a whole lot about Ukraine and Russia because what I'm going to do is I'm going to have actually we're going to for those of you that are part of Spirit Mind family, or if you're not, you might want to check that out. In fact, I meant to I meant to leave you the address to check it out. But it's our membership program here. But it's on a private platform, so there's things that I cannot say on YouTube that I can say there. So what we're going to do is not once but twice a month now have a live event where we can all get together and we can exchange ideas. So what's going on in Ukraine? It's a complicated mess, right? Is it a geopolitical war? Is it a war on resources? Is it a war on both? The Ukraine has a lot of resources, I want to say, and war is highly profitable to certain sectors. So these, yeah, and I don't have all the answers. So what we're gonna do on the Patreon on Spirit Mind Families, we'll have a discussion and we'll figure all this out together as a community and what we need to do to prepare ourselves and try to get a better idea of what's really going on in the world. So, separating the conspiracy theories from the conspiracy facts. I saw a funny little meme on, I think, on Facebook the other day, like what's the difference between a real conspiracy and a conspiracy theory? And the answer was 6 months. But anyways, that said, I personally, I don't believe all the stuff that's being said out there. But I think the things to keep understand about that quickly again is we didn't hear much about the freedom truckers, right? But a lot of you don't know that Canada basically pulled the Emergency Act, and they arrested a lot of people. They seized funds and stuff like that. This was months after the Prime Minister had talked about supporting peaceful demonstrations, and this was a peaceful demonstration basically. Now, just understand the Emergency Act is a power that's only supposed to be leveled when there's an actual national security. Now, somehow a group of truckers clogging up a few roads in Ottawa doesn't, to me, feel like it's a national emergency. Now, I'm not Canadian, I might be wrong, but to me, it doesn't feel that way. And then you see a lot of the changing narratives, like things that I couldn't say on YouTube a few months ago, I can say now, things about the virus and stuff like that. And then the question comes up about like why now? Like why did this war erupt now? And you have to understand that there's been pretty much a cold war between those two countries for a long time. There was actually a war or a struggle, if you want to call that, in 2014. So it's like, why now? Like, why are the narratives changing? And why, when certain ideologies were getting more out into the mainstream, thanks not just to the freedom truckers, but a lot of demonstrations you don't hear about, why did the narrative all of a sudden shift? So these are things we're going to talk about on Patreon, on Spirit Mind Family. And Monday at 7 is when we're going to do the live, and we're going to talk about that. So again, I don't have the answer. I'm not a political scientist. I'm not in that area. I do not have the answers. I know what I see, and I know how things work. I've been studying the whole process of programming and all that stuff, and world movements and stuff like that for a very long time. And I'm not there. I don't know what's going on. So together we will discuss this. We will come up with some answers, maybe, or maybe we'll come up with more questions. Who knows? So, and I apologize because I know this probably sounds like a plug for it's a crowdfunding site. It's only $5 a month, by the way, and it's non-committal. So I apologize if this may sound a little bit like a plug, but sincerely, I cannot talk about things on YouTube that I want to talk about, but I can talk about them over there. And and also you get, well, this is a plug, but also we do free exclusive videos. Well, free after your donation anyway. So we do exclusive videos and meditation of the month, and it's and other free things, or other gifts. Or I'll put it this way: we give a lot more than we receive for this. And this month is Spirit Guide Month. April's going to be, and I'm really psyched for this one, it's going to be Personal Empowerment Month. And that gives me a lot of liberty and leeway to go into a lot of different topics, as long as it's covering how we're going to stay empowered, or how we can become more empowered in a world that's trying to disempower us. So anyway, that's all I have to say about that. Now, if you guys are into a little bit of yoga, at 6 p.m., we changed the time. It's not 5 p.m., it's 6 p.m. tonight. Doreen Foxwell of the Children's School of Yoga, she's on the thread with us today. Um, she's going to be leading a vinyasa class, flow yoga, I believe. So that I can't wait for that. So I just want to see that. No one has all the answers, of course not. And that's the thing. We're not going to be able to get all the answers, but we can at least discuss it. The idea is to be, you know, in a community. I want to say, and Sharita's saying that's why we must do our personal work instead of getting wrapped up in things. That's an excellent point. Yeah, and that's what we're all about here on the Medium channel. And if you check out Sharita's latest live stream here about the spring, it's very, very informative. She breaks it all down really quite nicely. And the astrology and the numerology is a roadmap. It's not an absolute science, but it does show us how the energy is moving. It's basically giving us spirit's plan in a way that we can actually understand it through numbers, through planetary movements, and other things, of course, also. So she breaks it all down, and then at the end of the day, we have free will, even if it's somewhat compromised in this world of censorship. And so forth. So let's do some tarot stuff now. I got that. Like I said, I don't want to dive too deep into the war situation, but we're gonna do that tomorrow, 7 p.m. live on Spirit Mind Family. I'll have the information. I'll have the information for. Nah, yeah, I'll do it right now. So I'll have the information for you in just a second. HTTPS. And it's combat class mind family. So anyway, there's. Let me make sure I did that right. Yeah, I did. So there's how you can get more info on that. If anybody is interested and wants to join this group, please feel free. We're actually going to do twice a week. We're going to do lives. And do Q&As, and because it's a changing world. It's very fluid. Everything's changing very quickly. So like I said in the beginning, this is like significant new beginnings when you line the fact that we're in Aries. There's a new moon in Aries. April's a universal 1 month. It's all these ones. It's all these new beginnings that they're starting in April, and we're going to see that. And for those of you that saw my 2022 forecast, though I may not have said, I think I did say Ukraine and Europe with military mobilizing, but I didn't necessarily specifically say there's going to be a war beginning late February, March. If you watch that, and the way that the forecast comes, it's energetic basically. But if you watch that, you could see that there were some clues to what was happening now. And then April, a lot of stuff shifts, and that's in the 2022 forecast for those that saw that a lot of the narrative shifts again, and a lot of the focus is going to shift again. To what? Honestly, I don't know, but we'll see. I think it's going to be more information coming out. I think it's going to be more of governments and corporations trying to bury their tracks and all that stuff, and then try to make amends for things that they get caught doing. So a lot's going on. So anyway, that said, now getting back to tarot. In the tarot, there's 56 cards, no, 76 cards, no, 56 and I can't even. Today's my first day after doing a lot of readings, the last few days, so my mind could be a little sharper. I apologize for that, but there are 76 cards in the tarot. 78 cards in the tarot. Hello. 56 minor arcana and 22 major arcana cards in the tarot. So the major arcana is what's also sometimes called the Fool's Journey, and the Fool is both the first and the last card. And then if you look at all the, one is the Magician, two's the High Priestess, and it goes all the way to the World card, which is key 21. That is like a journey of awakening, all in the tarot. So tarot is basically a book of knowledge, a book of wisdom. It became a divination to more modern times, honestly. So before that, it was used more for wisdom and meditation, and the modern playing cards came from the tarot. So what couple ways to really learn the tarot? I've talked about doing 3 card spreads in the morning. Just lay 3 cards out, see what you write them down. Then in the evening, go back to those 3 cards, examine your day, and see what those cards are trying to tell you. Over time, you start to develop a personal relationship with your cards that way. But also, another exercise is that for a process of 22 days. Oh, there's a big Asian beetle on my microphone. How interesting. They look like ladybugs, but they're Asian beetles. Sitting on my microphone. I guess they're scarabs. They're a blessing from Egypt. They're beetles. So I'm getting blessed by spirit as I'm talking. So it flew away. Sorry, I didn't mean to go in my ego and scare you away. I apologize. Anyway, what you can do is for 22 days. The first day. Well, 22 days. You can start with the Fool card. You can do for 23 days and end with the Fool card. But you just have day one, the Fool card, just kind of meditate on that, just kind of absorb the energy of that, see what messages you're getting. Then the next day, do the Magician, that's key one. Then the High Priestess, then the Empress, and the Emperor, then the Hierophant, then the Lovers, then the Chariot, and then in modern tarot, it's the Strength card. In the old tarot, key 8 was the Justice card, which actually fits in a lot better with the Chaldean numerology, as Sharita would know, and so forth and so on. So let's pull a meditation card for the week for us. And see what that's saying. So meditating with the card for anybody who's new, and if you are new, say hi and let us know where you are from. Where are you? And Sharita is here saying having life skills will definitely come in handy. Yeah, I love that you guys are having your conversations and sharing also. Thank you. Yeah, we need our life skills. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I am going to pull us a meditation card as promised. And I keep my word. I'm a Libra, and I'm a Libra 6. Well, actually 11 life path, but born on the 6th day. So that's integrity. I keep my word. So interesting that we pulled this card. So part of our meditation may be in examining what are our inner conflicts right now, because I think you can see the card pretty clearly. And I look dark. Well, that's because I have a dark background now. I got rid of, well, I didn't get rid of, but we lost the winter motif, and now we have a green background for the spring here, or backdrop, as it were. So yeah, you can see it's a lot of competition, a lot of chaos. 5 is kind of sort of that raw. It's about freedom and change. It's kind of a raw energy to begin with, and very mercurial. Well, it's ruled by Mercury, so yeah, it's going to be very mercurial indeed. And so the way to meditate is, get relaxed, get present, always get present. You should do that even when you're not meditating. The more present you are, the less you're going to be subjected to all the programming, all the negative energy around you, by the way, because you're going to be closer to spirit and source. So where you arrive, the place that you arrive at after the place you arrive at after you stop thinking is spirit, because it's the internal dialogue that creates the filter between ourselves and our spiritual selves. So we do have to think sometimes. So it's not to say never have a thought, obviously, but to be present. So you get present, step into the card and see what's going on, and because of the energy of this card, you set the intentions like I want to clear all internal conflicts and see what you get. And you may meet spirit guides or angels, or you may just get downloads from spirit by doing that. So that's the meditation cards. And next I want to do a 3-card spread. Okay. I'm giving these a good mix this morning. Tarot is basically for guidance and for wisdom, at least from my world, not for fortune telling. divination, which is a little bit different, because divination comes from the word divine or divining. So yeah, predictions come up if you do tarot readings, and if people see tarot readers or psychics, sometimes they're looking for predictions, but it's all fluid and it's all choice centered. So it's really about giving us guidance and letting us know where we're headed. And if you like that, then by all means continue where you're going. If you don't like it, think about where you might be able to change your energy, or maybe I should say adjust your energy, or change your decisions or processes. Anyhow. Oh. Okay, the Lovers cards comes up. We all need more love, right? Interesting. I think part of this, is tapping into the changes of currencies. And gosh, I was just watching a video by the Inspired channel this morning. What do they call it? Like block something. I mean, it's stuff that we've been talking about. They gave it a name in terms of how they're, part of the agenda that a lot of people aren't aware of is how they're trying to alter the form of currency, and how and basically, to make a long story short, to have some kind of profiling done in order to have access to your money. So it's all becoming digitalized, and that's creating greater control. That's the plan anyways, and these are different steps along the way as well. So yeah, the Pentacles can be about money, Wheel of Fortune about money, but the Lovers is about choices, and it's got that Gemini energy. It's like the twins, so it's got that very kind of agile mental energy associated with this card. But I feel like it's saying that a lot of our own personal decisions are coming up, and I'm kind of getting this more as a reading for us as a community more than what's going on in the world. And I think over the next week or two, we just have to make some pretty hard choices. And I think some of that's going to be like, who are we going to remain, friends with, or who are we going to let go in our lives, or what activities are no longer serving us, or what do we need to do in our next step of our awakening, or what do we need to do to help to open our heart and to open our spirit more, and stuff like that. Um, and yeah, the Page of Pentacles, I mean, pages often bring news. It's reversed. Pentacles can be money and security. It's kind of falling out of his hands. I don't necessarily think this is going to be great news that's coming out, but then again, I don't think you need to be psychic to figure that out either. That's just kind of been the way it is. But it just feels like there's some heavy, I don't want to say hits, but some heavy debates and clamor about money, financial systems. I think there's going to be a little bit of a pushback, especially later on in the week. I think we may find like stock securities going up and down pretty erratically for the next period of time, I want to say, because I'm looking at this, I'm seeing this very zigzag line. It's kind of like, the Dow being up, maybe, 500, 700 points, and crashing, a few hundred, kind of that kind of energy. And, definitely more in the way of battles or natural disasters. I think there may be some more in the way of like fires, tornadoes. All that stuff feels like it's really on the docket for this coming week, as we really, meteorologically enter that volatile spring period. But there's a lot of upheavals, and both energetically and on a physical level. If humanity keeps trashing on the earth needs to do something to try to maintain her delicate balance, and that puts the climate and the systems out of balance. It's not even so much about global warming and CO2 emissions. That's part of it, but that's what humanity's doing is just a blip in cosmic time, like all the like the spike in global warming that's happening now. That it's just that it's a spike. There's a longer wave pattern in climatology that's happening. So in any event, I think all these little subjects are going to start to come up, um, but I feel like that there's going to be some news about some of the financial implications of war. It's kind of like the feeling that I get it is this country, if you're American like I am, kind of teetering in it, but not really being all in on it. And there's a lot of delicateness with the NATO and and the strategic location of Ukraine, and also, as I mentioned in the beginning, a lot of resources comes from that area. So there's been a lot of eyes. It's almost like the East, well, not the East, but not the Iron Curtain anymore, but more like socialist communism on one side of Ukraine, and more of like the Western world on the other. So there's, in terms of like the political maneuvering and the agendas that want to be leveled on the people. It's again, not being a conspiracy theorist, but just understanding the nature of the beast, so to speak. We do have the small group of people that benefit from things like war and food shortages and and vaccination cards and all of that stuff. Now that doesn't mean it's a conspiracy, but I think we do have to be aware of all the facts here and who could potentially benefit from what's going on in the world and stuff like that. So I think all this stuff kind of plays in to some degree or another. So I think there's going to be a little bit more scrutiny, and with the United States kind of teetering on the brink. But I'm not feeling like this country going all in, at least not at this time. And in fact, it kind of gives me a feeling more like there may be some semblance of talks. I'm not really necessarily getting a ceasefire at this time, but I'm looking at the card. I feel like there's a little bit of a backing of aggression. Um, things may just kind of be sort of where they are on a holding pattern that way. But I think what we're really looking at is what's going on here at home with financial changes, the issues with food and more news about things connected to maybe another variant or another surge of the virus or stuff like that. So all in all, we may get a few days to just kind of catch our breath, but this is a roller coaster. So there's going to be lots of ups and downs. So I want to see what you guys are saying for a second before I move on here. I think I've seen Janine has a family member, has her own YouTube channel. Oh, thank you, Michael. That's really good information. Thank you, MT. That's absolutely true. And Sharita explains that in the USA Pluto return, that it means exactly what you're saying, a near death experience or death and rebirth. To be discerned, that is our plan, Colleen. Yeah. To start with, just like I have a lot of beans, and I have to get more like oats and rice and more quinoa and stuff like that. But I've got my dry food and everything. I need what I need, and I think what we need is like maybe like a camper stove, because for those of you that watched my last live stream, I talked about something that I saw that might happen around 2024 to 2026, which has nothing to do with war and has everything to do with the sun and the natural cycles of the sun. The magnetic fields around the planet are weaker, which is allowing more kind of more of the solar light codes to reach us. That's part of the human upgrade system, or part of the awakening. But conversely, a weaker magnetic field means less protection from geomagnetic storms and coronal mass ejection or something like that. Back in the 1800s, sometimes not even a huge one knocked out the whole telegraph system. So we live in a very precarious and very vulnerable society now, because we rely on satellites and a geomagnetic storm would knock out those satellites. That would mean no internet. That would mean no cell phones. And if it's strong enough, it could knock out the electrical grid. And if that's on a global level, that would take 2 years to fix. So, thing is, be aware of what might happen. Don't be fearful about it. Nothing on the medium channel is ever going to be fear based, never has been, never will be. But it is information based, and we need to be ready and prepared. And the way that I see it from a spiritual perspective is that humanity is an awakening cycle, but the collective ego resists that. And yeah, we create everything. Consciousness creates physical reality. So we, as a collective, created this good versus evil, created Putin, created ISIS, created coronavirus. All this is part of consciousness, and it's all part of learning. But we are here to awaken now, and it's a really beautiful time to be alive. So if we don't get together as a community and really start to do that, and really start to heal things and start to heal the earth, then nature is going to do it for us. And what happens if everything goes out? We learn to live as a community. We learn to survive. We learn to be brothers and sisters again and to cooperate. And we learn to reconnect with our own spiritual values that are lost in this age of the internet, where all the kids, instead of going out into nature, are on those phones and on those computers playing games and stuff like that, and being programmed electronically as well as through the media in the process of doing that. So it's just unsustainable. So either we're gonna rise up as a community, as a world community, and it starts with you, it starts with me, it starts with the individual, or nature's going to force that on us. And quite frankly, the way things are going now, I don't hold, well, I shouldn't say I don't hold hope, because I do, but I don't. But I'll put it this way: it's a lot more likely that something's going to happen to force us into it at this point, but it's not too late. So anyway, that's the message that I get. Energy. Many of them have this. Oh, it's okay. Well, thanks for that, MT. I mean, for stuff like that, well, we need to look at things with a discerning eye, and just kind of, as you look at new channels, you know, just not judge, just be present, because you can tell if somebody's in integrity, if somebody's not in integrity. On YouTube, you can feel somebody that's desperate for getting views and subscribers versus somebody that's really passionate about wanting to share information and wanting to help people. Like, you definitely feel the difference. So definitely trust that. um all right, so what next? I have my Native American deck that I always pull from. And here we go. And this is the card they want me to pull. And this is the Scout. Interesting. Four of hatchets. What are hatchets in regular tarot? Spades, maybe, or swords. Um, And I'm just looking at this, and I'll show you. There's a train. It looks like, got it. Well, it's a herd of buffalo. I say this looks like a herd of elephants, but it's buffalo. Um, to me, this train is like the invader. Honestly, that's what it looks like. Because what happened with the people? I mean, this may just be my own interpretation. It may not have anything to do with what the card is saying, honestly. But what it's saying to me is yeah, basically this train is kind of like coming through, and there's like the herd of buffalo, and especially the natives that lived in the plain states back in the day. The buffalo were food, they were clothes, they were everything. They symbolically represented prayer, like they were manifestations of great spirit and helped the people survive. So not all the settlers and Europeans were bad apples. Most of them wanted to coexist, although there's programming back then also. Most of them were afraid of the savage Indians, because that's how they were programmed to believe. But meanwhile, as we know, they were very peaceful and very connected to nature. So one of the things that they did is they killed the bison, basically, and trying to basically kill off the Native Americans. So yeah, this could represent, kind of that train, like the media trying to kill the knowledge, trying to kill the spirit. So I feel like this is a message for us to really stay in our power, stay in our truth. I talk about heart brain coherence. It's a practice. I believe Heart Math Institute coined that, but it's a compassion. It's gratitude training where you hold magnified gratitude in your heart and you hold that for 10 minutes at a time if you can do it that long. Gratitude, appreciation, and compassion. And when you do that, it brings your heart, your energetic heart rhythm back into coherence. Because when we're faced with all this programming and fear, we become out of coherence, and our heart is the electromagnetic center of the body, as well as our auric body. And then whatever the heart does, it communicates with the brain, and the brain follows the heart. So when you bring your heart into coherence, it brings your brain into coherence, and then you become coherent with spirit. So it's really needed. I feel like they're just saying, to get ready. There's going to be some attempts to try to undermine the awakening and the spiritual movement. And I feel like Spirit's kind of laughing at me, saying, yeah, well, what else is new? Like, that's been going on. But this is a new wave. This is a new train that's coming in. So that's how I'm interpreting this. Let me just see what else I can see. Basically, the scouts, because that's what this is. The scouts, are the ones that basically assess the situation and go into hostile territory. Well, not always hostile, but go into new territory and assess the situation. And then if it's yay, then the rest of the people will follow. If it's nay, they don't go there, basically. So it's kind of like he's hiding in the bushes and kind of watching and saying, what are they going to do? So to me, this is about being a strategist. Learn how to be a strategist. That is the true art of warriorship, as spoken of in the Gonu Shore. I think it's called The Book of Five Rings by Miyamoto Musashi, which I read many, many years ago as part of my martial arts training. That also became later on like a code for Japanese businessmen. So it's interesting that Bushido or Japanese warriorship became like a business code. But it's not about war. It's about integrity. It's about peace. It's about being in your power. That's what warriorship is: being in your power, being in your truth, and willing to defend that with your life if necessary. But the idea is to teach peace and to grow in peace. So you kind of hide and see what the heck this train's going to do now, and assessing the situation in order to come up with a new strategy. So be mindful. Don't trust the mainstream news. Don't trust right-wing news sources. Don't trust left-wing news sources. Trust those that are really in integrity, that want to report the news and include the different ideologies in their broadcasting. Like, in other words, like, to me, a good source of news would be one that would consider what the people on the right wing are believing and saying. It would consider what the people on the left wing are saying. Take it all in. Be all inclusive. Don't be exclusive. Basically, that's the good news source. So anyway, and you can find them. So let me move on. And we have the medicine cards back. So and I've got my book with me too. So we're more of a Native American tangent, and this Society of Churches have signified the fourth Sunday. You're reminding me, Wendy, that one of my predictions from a while ago about Sadhguru is actually coming true, and he is kind of mobilizing this global movement. I think it's more around saving the environment than the war, but it's interesting that's actually come to pass. So all right, let me just clear my mind. This card is the one that they want. Raccoons are thieves. That's an interesting one to come up. Yeah, they're little thieves, these raccoons. Oh my goodness. I need to look at the meaning now, because I'm not sure what in the Native American card what that's significant of. Let's keep 46. That's interesting because they originally this was 40. There were 44 animals to match the 44 medicine shields, um, and then they added someone. Oh, I like this generous protector. I like the meaning they attached to the raccoon. And raccoon carries the medicine, the protector of the underdog. Oh, I love this meaning. And provider of the young, infirm, and elderly, often called Little Bandit. Well, there you go, by Southern tribes. This Robin Hood of the animal kingdom teaches us about generosity and caring for others. And this is what we really need to do. We really need to um, just have our compassion and really, again, be in your power and don't allow others to drain your energy. But we really need to have that compassion. So when raccoon comes your way, you are being asked to contact your inner warrior. What did we just talk about? I love the synchronicities to become a protector and generous provider for those in need. What we've been talking about all morning, kind of, sort of, anyway. Raccoon medicine people had the uncanny ability to assist others without allowing them to become victims or dependents. Like the tribal chiefs of old, raccoon tends to the needs of the tribe before taking anything for itself. So there you have it. I wanted to also I have a different angel deck I wanted to use today, which is called where's the box? Well, it's angel therapy, but I oh, that is actually what it's called, Angel Therapy by Doreen Virtue. So this is another one of her decks. I love the gold, the golden sides of these. Anyways, I wanted to show you guys. Also the backs of these cards are pretty cool too for the Reiki people and the energy healers. I love that. Um, and the magicians also. All right, so what's for our angel therapy? This is the first card that my finger touched, so this is the one. Release. Well, that's always a good thing. Work with Archangel Michael to let go know what no longer serves you or your purpose. So we are in a waning moon, coming into the dark moon, coming into the new moon, either late Thursday or Friday, either here on the East Coast, it's early morning Friday. Friday's April 1st, right? I've got the right day. April Fool's Day is Friday, right? Um, so that when the moon's waning and dark, this is the best time for release. Now, I'll finish up on this note just by saying you cannot release what you do not embrace first. So in other words, it's like you need to know what you're releasing. And if you're constantly trying to push away like negativity or negative thoughts or feelings or whatever, or avoiding tension or being a people pleaser or whatever it is, you can't release if you don't know what you're releasing. You have to embrace everything with love. And once you're able to do that, then the release can almost happen naturally once you set the intention. So whether you're releasing old friendships or an old relationship or old patterns or old habits, or fear or whatever it is, embrace with love first. Thank for the lesson, for the teaching, for the growth, and then your release work will get a lot easier. Otherwise, it's not release, it is resistance. So that's my final thought of the day. That's what I have for you. Please join us at 6 tonight if you want to do a little bit of yoga. The vinyasa, the flow practice will help you to release. You're releasing, from the body is good also. Like in other words, if you want to lose weight, you'll be grateful for your fat first, and then it's going to be easier to release. I mean, being overweight's a health issue, but that aside, it's more of a social conditioning. It's like fat is bad, thin is good. No, that's just a program that's been installed in our hard drive brains from a very very early age. Way back in the day, there's a goddess known as the Venus of Willendorf, who's a full figured lady, and full figured women were revered in a different era, just to in case you guys don't know that, just to let you guys know. So anyways, anything else? Yes, we were talking about vinyasa yoga or any yoga. That can help to release tensions from the body. It can help release toxins from the cells and stuff like that. But love and embrace your toxins first. Don't resist, basically. It's not a negative thing, it just is. This is what makes something negative or positive, our judgment. When it comes from spirit, it just is. And and then we gravitate towards certain things because it brings us closer to God or spirit. So we gravitate towards love, happiness, and joy because of vibration that's closer to spirit. And then we might deem negative the emotions of anger, fear, worry, or people backstabbing you or whatever that is. We deem that as negative. But in reality, it's all lessons, it's all growth. And the pettiest of tyrants in your life will wind up being your greatest teachers in the end. So thank you, everybody. So yoga at 6. We're going to have Heather Istara back doing a healing and release meditation. So it's interesting. We got released. She's Wednesday night. Wednesday night. It'll I always put that out on we create the event ahead of time. I post on social media, so you'll have the. I think it's Wednesday at 7, and she's going to lead us through a release meditation. How perfect is that? So anyway, that's what's coming up this week, and there's more. For anybody that missed it, we did a video we released Thursday on how to open your third eye, 5 different exercises for that, and we're going to go into life path number next Thursday. So Sharita's going to like this video, and again, watch her numerological and astrological forecast. That's on the channel also. Prepare for the spring, and then the summer also. So I'm really gonna end now. I promise. I'm really gonna end. I love you. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.